Boom, episode 43, Chef Fit podcast. Where you at, son?
Sorry, I can't hear you over all my drip.
Yeah, those chains. Accountability breeds excellence. And speaking of excellence, this man over here, boom, look at him. Look at him. Medals arrived in the post, and no, he hasn't just got them made online. He actually earned them. What's the story?
Oh, gee, man. Oh, gee, how's it going?
Not too bad, Chief. I'm not too bad. New hair kicking in.
I had my first ever cross-country race on Sunday, right? As you know, I didn't know where I was going to place. I didn't know if it was going to be hard. Didn't know if it was going to be easy. Didn't know the track. I didn't know where to fucking park. I parked miles away and was running for like 10 minutes to get out in the National Sports Centre.
Ah, yeah. Out in Donamead or something, is it?
Out on the dark side, yeah. Out in Snodborough. And I had a match that morning. We got there and the referee was like 45 minutes behind. So we were supposed to kick off at 1 o'clock. Ended up kicking off near 2:15. And my race was at 4:05. Got out there at like 5:24. Mm-hmm. And still had to like register, get my babe sorted and all that. And the race started off, and I was like, I'm going to treat this like a park run. I've done a park run the day before, so I had my pace set, my 5k pace, and I started off like that. And for the first 100, 200, 300 meters, I was first, and I was like, this isn't a good sign. Here we go. I'm not going to be able to hold this. Come around the corner and there's this big muddy hill. So going up the hill, a few people started taking me over.
What are you wearing shoes-wise? Are you wearing shoes or boots?
I'm wearing my Asics, my normal running runners. Definitely. And going up the mud and down the hill. And then came around and I was going past the finish line and it was only 2 laps. And I was like, that's only been like 10 minutes. I checked my watch and it was like 9 minutes. I was like, I'm halfway done. I was like, fuck this, I'm going for it. Everybody, all the other people that were around me were all part of running clubs. And I was kind of keeping up with them and, kind of joking with them as I'm going along. But they were kind of, laser focused on the next corner. And then they're joking along, going up beside some boy going, Jesus, how's it all uphill if it's 2 laps? Or, all this type of shit. Just enjoying myself. And then I got to the last, you can see the line from about 100 meters out, and it's wide, slightly uphill grass route, pelting along. And there's a woman ahead of me, and they know everybody that was up ahead of me. They were all part of running clubs, and I'm running after, and I kicked into a sprint like I do at the end of a 5k, and I ended up catching up to her, and I passed her out. And then when I was 30 yards out, about 30 meters out, there was another person that was 20 meters ahead of me. So he had about 10 meters to go, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm going for him." Everybody's cheering and screaming. You hear the commentator giving it loads as well. And I just pelted it. For some reason, the man just started to coast over the line, never looked behind him. I went past him. I smashed past him. Can't wait to see the video now when I get it. Smashed past him and took his position. And, the crowd goes wild. It was a bit of a showman finale, the way I caught up with him, And when I was finished, I went over to him. I'll give you a bottle of water as you finish. I went over to cheers to him and said, "Cheers, man." And he goes, "Forgive my language, especially if my mom ever listens to this." He goes, "Fuck off, you fat cunt." What? He goes, "You can fuck off now, you fucking fat bollocks, you." I was like, are you messing? When he said it the first time, I thought he said something about himself, like, "I only beat me because I'm a fat fucker," or something like that. Jeez. And he was like, he goes, no, you fucked that up, you did. You fuck off. No, you're not getting a handshake from me.
You fucked that up? What?
I fucked it up for him.
Just give me a bit of context here. Was this lad like a skinny wreck? Like, did he look like a fucking former AIDS victim? Like,
no, he was a big fat alpha.
Miserable old bollocks.
A miserable old bollocks. That's what he was. And I stopped and I was like, well, maybe I heard him wrong. Maybe he was talking about himself, like he only beat me because I'm a fat bollocks or something like that. And I was like, hold on a second. I said, are you for real? Are you joking at what you're saying? He goes, no, I've been training for that for months. I said, you ruined it. I said, how did I ruin it? I beat you. He goes, I wanted to get my photo finished. My photo of me crossing the line. Because it was 20 minutes on the nose when we crossed the line, like, of a 26-minute heat we were in.
The fuck did photo got to do with anything?
He's there. It's a fucking race, man. He goes, I've been training for this for months, and all I've been thinking about is getting me medal and getting my picture of me crossing the finish line.
Fact.
I was like, it's a fucking race, pal. Get over it. He goes, listen. He goes, you better get the fuck away from me before I say or do something stupid. I says, come here, listen. I've been called worse by nicer people. Go on over to that corner there and have a little fucking whinge, you crybaby. It's a race and you got beaten. Get over it. And I walked away, and he's still kind of effing and blinding. And I walked off over the finish line, and then all of a sudden I was like, Jesus, Muppets after ruining that race for me, you know. But I thought it was a funny story, so I went live in Sheffield, and I was like, what's the story, guys? And I had him in the background. I said, I just finished there, 20 minutes. See this guy here, and I pointed to him. He's about 20 feet away. I was like, this guy here, I finished the line. I overtook him just at the line. He's actually been calling me a fat bastard and a fat cunt and a fat bollocks for the last 5 minutes. Because I beat him in a race. He looks over and he goes like this to his mates, and then he walks over to me, right? So he's coming up behind me and goes, oh, here he is. And I put the phone like to the side so he couldn't see that I was recording that. And he came over and he goes, here. I said, what? And he goes, I'm very, very sorry about that. I said, all right, no worries. He goes, no. I don't want you to accept my apology or say that, and this is going to beat me up for days now. I shouldn't have acted like that. There's no reason for it. It was selfish and ignorant, and if anyone did that to me, I'd knock the bollocks out of them. I don't know how you beat me. It shouldn't. That's going to beat me up for days now. Please forgive me. And then he went on like that for a while, and then his missus came along and all, and he was like, I'm not giving your man an awful hard time. Then he started asking me for running tips and all this, and he's like, oh, I've been doing CrossFit for 2 years, and I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 9 years, and I didn't run at him like this. This was my first one, so I kind of had it all built up in my head. And then when you beat me across the line, I don't know if it's the competitive edge or whatever it is, but what the fuck?
He's been doing jiu-jitsu for 9 years, and he's been doing CrossFit for 2 years. Fuck me. He must be the world's most dangerous man with the fucking sounds of him. One of those. Cover your with fucking what is he at? Here, I know we apologize, but it's like, man, like fucking get a life. Do you know what I mean? That'll be eating me up for fucking months. Be a fucking better. Like that's a lesson for everyone. Learn how to lose. That's number one. Learn how to. It's one of the best skills you can fucking have as a person. Know how to win and know how to lose. Be humble and fucking defeat or victory. Absolutely fucking lose.
I was like, if you have all this energy to argue with me, why did you put the energy into crossing the line? Yeah, I said, one of my number one rules of racing or running is any matches you have left at the end, burn them all, because you're not going to use that energy going to the car.
Yeah, totally.
Finish the line and say, I couldn't have done any better. He was like, oh, I know. He more or less went to walk across the finish line, and I was like pissed past him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, game over. Fucking Sheffield.
The results came in. There was three heats, right? There was the kids heat, and then there was the over 26 and the sub 26 heat, and altogether there was 970 people, and I finished 17th.
Nice. That's fucking savage, man. Well done. Doesn't surprise me though. You're fit as fuck. It doesn't surprise me. You know, that you be able to show up and dominate like that. Serious effort. Well done. Again, next time, single leg takedown to the old fat. Actually, maybe not with the 9 years of jiu-jitsu, but let's see.
Good job we didn't have a knock. I was like, well, I bat at him. And I wake up a few minutes later going, what happened?
He crossed the line this time. Anyway, as we move forward then into today's episode, accountability breeds excellence. And probably in Peter's example there, Peter's a very good example of accountability done right. And Tonto there has probably not been kept accountable. He's probably been fooling himself with a lot of shit. You know, I'm thinking he's better than he actually is.
I don't think he hasn't done a day's jiu-jitsu in his life as well.
You can tell if someone trains. If you're no offense, I've been fat many times, but like if you're heavily, if you're overweight and you're in bits, you're not doing that amount of training. Talk like you do, but you're not. So accountability breeds excellence. First and foremost, like, why is accountability important? What does it even mean? It means to be held accountable. It means to have an account of what's happened. So for a lot of people, they go about their daily lives and they don't get held accountable for their actions. So for example, like in a real world sense, people who don't get held accountable are like internet trolls. People who leave like shitty comments. I know I deal with a lot of them. I know anyone knows who I'm talking about if you see them online. These people never get held accountable for their actions. And one of the best things that the internet ever did was on Google or on YouTube, if people were leaving shitty comments, you could actually see who the fuck they were, and you can trace it back, which is a form of accountability. Now you have to trace their shitty comments to the to the actual person they are, and now that person's going to get held accountable for acting like that. So that's what accountability means. It basically means that you're held in line for what you're doing. Now, for so many chefs, this is one of the most important parts of your journey towards turning your health around, getting as fit as you've ever fucking been, and making a drastic change in your lifestyle and making it a permanent fixture. The thing that's going to get you there and keep you on point and pushing forward is being held accountable, actually taking account for things. All right. Now, the difference with this episode is not just going to go like, hey, you need, because we've already spoken about how important environment is, but it's not about just surrounding yourself with people who are just going to fucking hold your hand through a journey. That's not what this is about. I'm here to talk about true accountability. And when you have true accountability, that's what makes you great as a person. That's what gets you to achieve magnificent things. Most people say they want to do something, but then when they actually go to do it, they're nearly doing the opposite of what they said they would. Very few people follow through and do what they said they would. All right. And when we think about the journey into turning your health around, you think about the journey into changing your lifestyle, you think about the journey that what our message is about. Like a lot of chefs will say to me on the phone, right, I really need a kick in the arse, Jesus, it'd be great if people were just like texting me and calling me to hold me accountable, to keep me in check, all of these things. And I was actually thinking about it the other day. That's like, it's actually, to be honest, that's a load of bollocks. That is a load of bollocks, because the same mentality that got you in the shit in the first place was passing the buck onto something else, whether that was work, whether that was not having time, whether that was blaming your kids because they take up too much of your time or your energy or your whatever. It's like the thing that got you into a shit space where you're not good physically and you're not good mentally, that all stems from passing the buck and passing on responsibility to other people and other things. Now, to say when you're in that position and then to say, Jesus, it'd be great if someone would hold me accountable, you're just doing the same thing that you did before. You're just playing the victim card again. Oh, well, now it's just going to be better because someone's going to help me, they're going to do it for me. It's bollocks. It's not true accountability. It is not true accountability.
The big, huge difference between holding yourself accountable and being held accountable.
Yeah, totally.
I think we kind of, in the Chef Fit Elite group, we earn that accountability. It's not a matter of, right, I'm here now, you have to keep me accountable.
Totally.
You have to cut your teeth with the rest of us.
Yeah, it's called paying. I call it paying your dues. You have to pay your dues before you actually receive the full benefit. Like we call it the tribe, because Chef Fit Elite is a tribe. There's 60 of us in it. You know what I mean? More or less, growing or fucking give or take a handful. Like within that tribe, within that community, we're a very, very tight-knit group. But that just doesn't happen instantaneously. You don't just like apply, join, pay your membership, and then all of a sudden you're fucking fully integrated. It's a process. And this is what true accountability is. For someone like Peter, for someone like any of the chefs that you might see on the page who are having these amazing transformations, these same chefs are the ones who get involved in that tribe and have been getting involved for months. As in doing videos, posting their shit, putting up their food pictures, supporting the other chefs, trying to pick people up and push them along. They put so much into the tribe that eventually they start to form this identity within the tribe. So for Peter, he's the GOAT. He's one of the big leaders in the group, and people look up to him and they look to him for advice or inspiration or motivation. Now, what happens how do you feel when someone sees you as a motivator? Well, like you start fucking acting in accordance with that. It's the same thing with me as leading the fucking group. Like, I'm not just going to show up into Chef Fit and start being a pussy and fucking doing videos complaining about people because I'm the fucking leader. So therefore, I have to act in accordance with that identity. Peter's a leader within the group. He has to act in accordance with that identity. People expect him to do big things. That's what true accountability is. You need to pay your dues to the point. You need to fucking sacrifice to the point where you actually start to form this new identity, where you start, other people viewing you in a different light, and therefore you view yourself in a different light. Therefore, you take different actions based on that. Like, it's that simple. But this whole mentality of like, I'm just going to pay someone to fucking like to hold me accountable, it's a load of bollocks. It's a bit like this. I used to have, when I was personal training people, right? I used to call it rent a friend, because that's literally what it was. Just pay me fucking, you know, corporate types. I was in Bagot Street in Dublin, really, really built up corporate area. It's probably, you know, it's a really wealthy part of Dublin. A lot of really wealthy clients working in big fucking companies, whatever else. A lot of cash to throw around and not a huge amount of responsibility for their health. So these people would pay me fucking a lot of money per month, a lot of money. Like, I was getting paid to do like 2 or 3 sessions a week. I think some people were paying me, like, I had couples coming in paying 800 quid a month, you know, for fucking 2 sessions, 3 sessions a week. Like, you're taught 45 to an hour a session. And what would happen is they come in, and because they're paying me money and they're doing a training session with me, that then absolves them from any responsibility outside of the gym. They just think by showing up to train with me that that's enough to change their life. And it's not, because outside of that, they'd be coming back in the next week and I'd be like, okay, cool. How was your nutrition? Yeah, it was okay. Like, I went out for drinks on Friday, I had a meal out on Saturday, and then I had a takeaway on Sunday, you know, and it's like, do your weigh-in and you're up fucking half a kilo. And it's like, your nutrition wasn't okay. You know, it wasn't okay. And obviously you're talking to people face to face. You don't want to be a fucking dick about it, but it's like, oh my God, you know, and you try and communicate it, but these people they thought by just paying me money that the accountability was there. The reality is they wouldn't want me to tell them the absolute harsh truth. You're full of shit. And I have told clients that before, especially when I was personal training. I've told a handful of clients that before. You're full of shit. You know, you're not telling me the truth. This is not going to get you the result that you want. You know, and they'd end up fucking getting pissed off. You're rude, you're this, you're that. And it's like, listen, that's what you're here for. So that's not true. Yeah, that's not true accountability. That's not true accountability. Accountability only works when you are fucking adopting the responsibility. It only works when you start taking, you know, control of things and start looking at your own actions going, maybe I need to up my game here. Maybe I need to do something. It's a bit like this. If you're expecting a swimming stroke, if you can't swim, it's like asking someone to jump in the pool with you and like keep you afloat as you swim around the pool. And for you, it's great. For the person holding you accountable, they're like, when's this person going to get their shit together? And you're just floating around the pool. And every time you get out of the pool, it's like, yeah, well, I'm able to swim. It's like, you're not able to fucking swim. You can't swim without someone keeping you afloat. And the whole idea of accountability is not to pay or get someone to show you or, you know, just to guide you around the pool while you swim with, you know, without even supporting your own weight and without actually being able to swim. You know, that's not sustainable. So if you're doing that within your lifestyle with exercise, nutrition, and you're trying to stay on track with something by, you know, having someone else fucking hold you accountable, quote unquote, it's not going to work because you're not getting the point. The point is, initially you might need someone to hold your hand. And then over time, what happens is once I've held your hand, you learn to start fucking doing it yourself. It's like bike with stabilizers. You learn to cycle a bike with stabilizers on the back wheel. All right, cool. Now we remove the stabilizers and it's a bit shaky at first. And then all of a sudden you start to cycle and then you can cycle a bike. The same thing goes for your lifestyle. You need guidance initially. You need someone to call you on your bullshit because maybe you haven't experienced that before. But over time, that slowly has to start becoming your mindset. You have to start adopting the mindset of the person holding you accountable. They're calling me out my bullshit. Why don't you get to a point where you can call your own bullshit? That's what I say. And I had this same thing with a mentor of mine before. And he's so big on his principles that he's like, listen, I was kind of getting a bit, not frustrated, but I needed help with some things, or so I thought. I was having a problem that I thought I needed help with. You know, I thought I just needed someone to step in and just say, do this. That's all you need to do is just do this. That's what I thought. So I went to him and I said that, you know, and he's like, man, that's not, here's the facts. Here's the facts of the situation, Cameron. You know, this, and this is the reason that you're not having the problem. Now, what's it going to be? What's the issue here? It's like, oh, fuck, it's me. Yeah, it's you. So what do you need to do? And he actually asked me questions in a way that made me think of what I needed to do to fix my problems, as opposed to him just coming in and saving me. No one can save you. And he said to me after that, he's like, do you understand the lesson you just took away here? I was like, yeah. He said, if I had have just swooped in and just done the work for you and not giving you the responsibility, what would have happened? I would have robbed you of the biggest gift I can give you. And that's growing. That's fucking getting better. That's learning how to walk on your own. That's learning how to ride a bike without stabilizers. That's learning how to swim without armbands. Like, if I just did it for you, you'd never be able to do that yourself. Do you understand? And he's like, I was like, fucking yeah, absolutely. It's a really, really.
Did you consciously decide one time, like have a eureka moment about accountability itself, or did you just learn it through discipline and your actual journey? Like,
principle. So like principle, what is a principle? Obviously, like I read a lot of books, and we're going to dive into this now. Like I read a lot of books, and I read a lot of books in the past. I've watched a lot of fucking motivational speakers, people who I would consider not direct mentors, but people who've influenced my way of thinking. Do you know what I mean? People like Jocko Willink, David Goggins, Robert Greene's a great author. There's some great authors I've read, and through their teachings, I've learned principle. Principle, for anyone that doesn't know, principle is a law. It's a law that guides you. You know what I mean? It's like the Murphy's Law. It's like if it can go wrong, it will go wrong, you know? And the principles that I learned that have never failed me is the principle of ownership, you know? And once I started, maybe before I learned about this, I thought about my life as a victim. I thought about it as like a fucking, oh, it's so hard. And I would blame other people, and I would point the fucking finger, and I would expect someone or something to come in and save me. And what I realized was that my life was my responsibility, and everything that happens in my life happens because of me, whether good or bad. So I can make a decision to take on the responsibility and make my life good, or I could absolve the responsibility and make my life bad, you know? And I think a book that changed my life was Extreme Ownership, which is a book I'm getting you to read at the moment. And I'm getting the lieutenants, who are my close-knit group within Chef Fit, I'm getting us all to read it. And I'm listening to the audiobook again because I haven't read it in 2 years. And it's a life-changing book. It really is. It's a life-changing book. It's written by a guy called Jocko Willink, who's basically a Navy SEAL commander. And he writes this book with every chapter is a principle. And it's a principle or a law that they've learned in combat. So they fought in Ramadi in Iraq in 2006 with the Mujahideen, which is probably one of the most, during the Iraq War, that was the most heavy duty fighting that was happening anywhere. Films that you would have seen this in would have been American Sniper, Chris Kyle. That film is based in Ramadi during that time that those guys were there.
He served under Jocko.
Yeah, he was one of the snipers overlooking his squad. Like, it was heavy shit that was going on. So this book, they detail exactly what happened in a lot of situations and the lesson that they learned. And through this book, by reading the whole thing, I began to understand that it's like, oh shit, everything is ours to bear. Do you know what I mean? Like if we're a leader in a situation and that situation does not turn out the way we want it to go, it's our fault. It's my fault. If I don't have the job I want, or I don't have the money I want, or I don't have the fucking the thing I want, it's my fault. I was the one that caused that to happen, you know? And that's a very, very, very empowering thing to happen to anyone. And that's why Chef Fit is such a fucking mind-blowing experience for some people. And it's not because of the training. It's not because of any of that. It's what happens up here over the course of the time being there. What happens over the course of a couple of months is you start to change how you think. You start to program yourself to take full ownership of everything. When you take full ownership of everything, you can do anything you want. Anything you want. You start to understand that, like, if I just put in the fucking work, if I just take responsibility and figure out problems wherever they may be, I will continue to progress to whatever I want to do. That's simple. So with that situation within with my mentor, it's easier said than done. And it was like, this is the problem that you're having. And here's the facts. by looking at the facts of the situation, it turns out, Cameron, that you were the problem because you're not doing the fucking work. And in my mind, I thought I was doing the work and I was taking ownership and all these things, but I wasn't. And he illuminated that to me, and that just fucking blew my mind. It's like, right, I got to, this is on me. I've got to figure this out. So when we think about accountability, breeding excellence, accountability is your ability to fucking look at yourself and take full responsibility. It's you looking at yourself and going, right, this is what's happened. What do I need to do next time? Obviously, you can bolster that by surrounding yourself with like-minded people who are going to who might call you out the odd time or make things competitive or motivate you or inspire you. But at the end of the day, it always falls down to you. It's a two-way street. You have to walk one way side of the street, they have to walk the other, and that's how it works. But if they're just
I think that's a superpower of yours, Cam, because how quickly you react and identify adversities that's going on with yourself. It's like, do you know what happened to you? Cam's corner will come on and go, here, listen, this is what happened to me this morning. This is what I'm going to do now. This is what I did then. This is what I'm after learning from it. And here's what you can learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, hold on, this happened 6 hours ago. That would have taken me a week to even see what was after happening. You know what I mean? Because of the way you spot it.
Yeah.
And you take ownership of it straight away.
Totally.
And then we all get to learn from it then.
Totally. I think I'm definitely critically self-aware. Like I'm painfully self-aware sometimes. Do you know what I mean? I'm very, very, I know I'm aware of.
Good job. I'm the one that looks like I'm in full drag today then.
You know it, pal. Fucking say nothing. Chapped lips. How you getting on?
Lips and fucking black eyes.
Telling you, the fat L lad coming in, throwing digs.
But yeah, you definitely lead by example with accountability, and you push it on us without saying, "I want you to do this."
Yeah,
it's just you do it. We see how it works for you, and then it's passed on to us, and then we pass it on.
That's what leadership is, though. This is the whole thing. There's so many people, gurus and fucking assholes who do coaching and all sorts of shit. There's so many people that tell you what to do but don't do it themselves. It's the worst quality in the world. I fucking hate when people don't lead by example. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have the audacity to tell, who the fuck are you to tell someone to do something when you can't even be bothered to do it yourself? Like, it's a weak characteristic. It's a really weak characteristic. And you never, ever want to follow one of those people. There's plenty of them out there who can talk it all, talk a fucking big game. The chips are down. They're not doing fuck all. That's the truth. I mean, a lot of people are like that. The high road is taking ownership and holding yourself accountable. You know what I mean? It's fucking hard to do, but it's rewarding because it gives you control of your life and it shows you that you actually are in the driver's seat. You're not the fucking passenger. You're in the driver's seat and you can take it wherever the fuck you want to go, And if you have issues, if you just take full responsibility, you'll find a solution to the issue. But if you don't, you never find solutions. So like things in terms, examples of being held accountable. Like I'll have some chefs like yourself or other chefs where I don't even need to say it because you're already doing it. Like I don't even need to say it, but you're already doing it. Like Paul Brown's a great example of this. He's one of the chefs in the group, and I one of his weekly temple. So a weekly temple is our weekly check-in. I'll ask the chefs some straight up questions on a fucking questionnaire, about the week that they've had, and it just gives them clarity on what mistakes they've made and what they have done well, and then what they need to improve. And Paul's been having this thing where you're not going to avoid all issues. He's been having issues with his food. Like he just hasn't been consistent with his nutrition, but he's not blaming it on anything. He's not going work or fucking time or anything like that. He's going, my food's been shit. I'm being a dickhead. And I said, is there one thing I can help you with next week? He goes, no, the only person that can help me is myself right now. And that was one of the most, that one liner, it's like, exactly, he gets it.
He knows what the fuck time it is.
Do you know the only person who can help me right now is me? And that's such a fucking true statement. Jesus Christ, like fucking what a round of applause for that lad, because it's one of those things where most people will never have that awareness. Most people will never have that awareness. They're just lying to themselves. And this is another thing about accountability, the truth. I think one of the chefs earlier in the video I posted earlier on in the group was like, if I'm being honest, at first I thought you were being a bit of a dick, but then I realized over time you know, that these truths that you were telling us were what is going to lead us to fucking get better, you know, and improve. And I will get this a lot from chefs. Like, a lot of chefs probably don't like me because I tell the truth. And sometimes I'm painfully honest, you know? And the fact is, like, your life is shit because of you.
That's Cam's behind my couch videos, isn't it? Where it's like,
Yeah.
you're like, is your name Peter?
Yeah. Big time. Big time. But I know exactly, but I know the ins and outs, and I know the mentality. And the reason I fucking know it is because I did it. I did it. I did 70, 80-hour weeks. I did like days where I was so stressed and anxious walking into work that my fists were fucking clenched. You know, I worked in a stressful, toxic environment where I needed several fucking cigarettes, you know, in the middle of a service just to keep myself from losing the plot. You know, I needed to smoke joints late at night, or so I thought, to escape reality and chill and wind myself down. Like, I went through all of that. I know what that mindset is because I did it. I blamed everything around me. I blamed the fucking industry. I blamed my parents. I blamed this, and I fucking blamed that. And where did it ever get me? Absolutely fucking nowhere, pal. Nowhere. Because it doesn't get you anywhere. Ever. And the only thing that ever worked for me was that I started facing the facts, started facing the harsh truth. Chap, no one put a gun to your head and said you had to do these things. You made a fucking choice to do it. So all you need to do now is make a fucking choice. That's it. Game over. And for a lot of chefs, it's the same thing. Scared of getting out of your comfort zone, scared of facing the truth about yourself. You've been lying to yourself for so long that now it's like, as soon as someone steps in and goes, actually, you can actually not do the things that you're doing right now. And you can make a decision to turn your life into a positive by taking consistent action and being disciplined in your lifestyle. Like, you can do that. And for a lot of chefs, it's a built-in, like, that's not fucking possible. You're like, what are you talking about? You know, bollocks. Absolute bollocks. Lying to yourself, and you lie to yourself to keep you in the comfort zone, as opposed to facing the harsh truth, stepping out and taking some ownership of what's happening and what
Putting your fucking hand up that first time.
Massive. Big time. So that's why I probably catch a lot of flack, is because people don't like what I'm saying because I make them uncomfortable, and the truth is uncomfortable. Facts are uncomfortable, you know? Like, for example, things around facts. For a lot of chefs, oh, what weight are you? Probably about like 20, 21 stone. Then when they actually joined Chef Fit and they did their weigh-ins, they were 23, 24 stone. Again, lying to themselves about where they were at physically, you know? And it's like within the relationship, oh yeah, my wife, you know, I hear this all the fucking time. I hear this dichotomy that, yeah, no, like my relationships, I just don't have the energy to be present with my missus on my days off. You know, I'm not fucking, you know, genuinely upset about about not performing within the relationship. And then when it comes to make like something like a commitment or it's joining Chef Fit, oh, well, you know, like I'll have to check in with her. It's like, you're doing this to improve your relationship with her. Like, what are you talking about here, man? Like, again, people don't live with the truth. They're not actually seeing it for what it is, you know? So again, when it comes to accountability, not only do you need people around you to tell you the truth, but you need to be able to fucking tell yourself the truth, you know? And you need to be able to face that. So what are the tools that you need? What do you actually need to hold yourself
accountable? You need
accountable?
fucking ownership first and foremost.
Yeah. So once you take ownership, then you need a framework. Yeah. So like, Peter, for you, what do you think, like, I'll ask you, the Weekly Temple is a good example of this. When we always talk about facts, not feelings. So once you understand that you have this mindset of, I'm going to take ownership, I'm going to take responsibility. Okay, cool. From there, where does it go? Well, you need to have a framework that allows you to figure out what the truth is. So for me, that's the Weekly Temple. And for you guys, it's the Weekly Temple. Just in your own experience, Peter, like, what do you feel, any experiences with the Weekly Temple where it's kind of illuminated something for you where you're going to go, oh shit, right, I didn't realize I was kind of slipping that way?
Yeah, well, 2 weeks ago, that's exactly what happened to me. What I find with the Weekly Temple is that, you know, the way when you post it up, I say, right, it's time to reflect. And that's when I go, okay, I don't just pick my phone and tick the box and go, yeah. I wait until I have proper time to sit down and go through it and go back into Train Rise and see where I was, and go back through my food picks, and I do it properly. And as I'm filling out the questionnaire, I'm getting a better picture of where I had been for that last 7 days, and what I need to do going forward. And then I also try and think about not just what was, but what can be going forward over the next 7 days. So that's why I would look for direction as well going forward, instead of just correcting what was needed to be corrected. Because if I do put my hand up and say, right, I didn't meet well this day, I didn't do that workout, whatever, then I know that that's been done and that needs to be improved. So if I say to you, right, I only got to the gym 1 day this week, you don't have to say to me, right, well, you have to get your 3 gym sessions done next week, because I am after addressing that now. Totally. And I've put my hand up for that straight away.
Which is exactly how coaching should be done. A coach is not someone who just tells you everything that you need to do. It's like, you know what you need to fucking do. You know, you shouldn't need to tell you what to do. It's that when you've taken the responsibility on yourself, so when you go through those questions, for any chef, for anybody, you should have some way of looking at your facts. You should have some way of reflecting back and going, what did I do this week? Like, what did I actually do? And don't be in your feelings. It's like, did you go to the gym? Did you go for your cardio? How many meals did you eat in a day? Did you do your food prep for the week? Did you sleep well? Did you drink your water? You know, what's the big victory? What's the thing that needs to improve? Like, even those are the questions I would ask. And what happens is, and I said this before, it's like, don't fucking fill out the weekly temple and look at those facts just because I told you to. Don't just tick the box. Like, go through the questions, like Peter just said. Take the time, go through the questions and actually see what you fucking need to do, you know, because that empowers you. And that was a big turning point for me with my mentor. I used to just do shit because he told me to at the start, because I thought that I didn't really pay any mind to it, didn't think it was important, until I started realizing it's like, oh shit, if I look at my own facts, I can give myself direction. You know what I mean? I can make myself astronomically better next week if I just look at my own shit and take ownership of it. And then what you do is you take full ownership of that, you do it, and then you can come to me with good information that you've reflected on, and then you can go, Cameron, what do you think? And then I can give you the best coaching and the best advice possible, you know? Whereas you have some people in there, you actually just have to tell them to train. Do you know what I mean? It's like, we're missing the fucking point here, lads. We're missing the point here. You know how many sessions you're supposed to be doing, you know? So if I'm telling you need to get a certain amount of sessions done, we got an issue here, you know?
Exactly.
Huge.
I noticed as well on Sunday when I was filling it out that I was the top poster last week.
Boom. There we go.
I was like, fuck you, Brooks. Fuck you, Caroline.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Exactly. You know? But it feeds back into you, pays back in dividends. You know, I feel like putting stuff out into the tribe is like putting money in a bank. You know, it just builds credit over time, over and over and over again, you know, and eventually that will pay back to you. And it gives you a bit of a buffer zone within the group, totally, and it gives you that consistency.
Daily accountability as well is going to shoot you along. You can go so far if you can reflect on yourself every day. I think that's why the live videos are so important as well. People that, I know what I say the most is the more you put in, the more you get out of it. And if you're on there more and you're more accountable for how you did, like I didn't mess up my nutrition yesterday, but I didn't eat enough for my last meal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had committed to intermittent fasting for last night and today. Yeah. So at 11 o'clock today, I was starving and I was almost going to hit the wall. And all I'd had was some like my vitamins and supplements and some lemon water. But it was from 9 o'clock, and then my meal, which would have been 1 o'clock, was actually going to be 2:15 because we're in the middle of service. And I was like, right now, I'm kind of I put up straight away what I had learned from it. When I sat down, before I even ate my food, I took a picture of it and put it up and I said, right, lads, this is what I'm going to eat now. This is what I ate last night. I'm fucking starving from it. So from tonight, I'm going to have a more substantial meal from it. And in order to hold myself accountable, this morning, I didn't stop and say, right, I should have eaten. I'm going to eat now anyway and have some eggs or something during the morning. I learned my lesson from that, from being starving and wrecked and almost hitting the wall.
Totally. It's the same thing.
I thought, people can learn from that as well.
Yeah, and that's such a big point. And I'll actually just grab this off the table here because it's another big point. Like having self accountability, right? If I think about, that's my diary from today is Tuesday. So it's like like Monday and Tuesday totally written out. Some days I could probably get away with not writing down a plan for the day. Like I could probably get away with it. Like I run my own business. I don't need to I don't have anyone to answer to, if I don't do it, it's like the only person I'm letting down is myself and the fucking business. Do you understand? So it's like when I write stuff down for the day, I have a choice. I could be accountable today and I could write down what I need to get done and I could put the times that I need to get them done at, and then I can go and fucking execute on that. Or I could wake up and I could just leave my diary there and I could do the bare fucking minimum and I could hope that someone's going to swoop in and save me, but it doesn't. That's why I live and die by my principle. If I don't take full ownership and hold myself accountable, I'm ruined. My life's over. It's game. Everything I work for is done. So like a small example would be writing down a fucking plan for the day. So you've got a fucking battle plan to work off. But if you don't have that, you don't even have a structure. You're just throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks. And the same thing that's a small example of what
pushing shit uphill.
Yeah, and that's a small example of some way of holding yourself accountable is writing your plan for the day. At the end of the week, it's write down what you did that week, and then it's reflect on what you need to do the next week.
Reflecting back on today's list.
Yeah, totally. At the end of a day, that was another thing I used to do as part of my daily work. I used to reflect on the fucking day and just go, right, this is the lesson that I learned from today. This is what we apply for tomorrow. But understand that that's the first step. And if you're not even doing that stuff, you're not even holding yourself accountable. So you can't expect someone else to step in and save you. You only get help from others when you're helping yourself, and you only receive what you're willing to give. So again, bear that in mind going forward, chefs. Bear that in mind going forward. Too many people play the fucking victim. Too many people expect someone else to do it. Oh, my wife is fucking, always bickering at me and fucking, she never shows me any attention, or she's never interested in what I'm doing. It's like, when's the last time you fucking showed interest in her, motherfucker?
Exactly. Yeah, big time.
Exactly. You won't fucking get what you don't give. Same thing goes with life, with anything. These are principles. This is what a principle means. It's a life fucking law. Break the law, you understand bad things happen. Follow the law, put it into practice, good things happen. So there's another, that's Peter's diary there for anyone.
Be elite, be nice, enjoy the process.
Yeah, their intention.
Just have them little cliff notes at the end. Well, these are intentions. So I have the times down there and what time I'm going to be doing my bits and bobs on. And then at the end, in bold, shouting at myself, be elite, be nice. Don't get stressed over time.
Boom.
Yeah, you get the weight of that on top of you. And oh, God.
Yeah, truth. That's the truth. So, again, that's accountability. And if you do it properly, it breeds excellence in your life. So if you enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up. If you have watched this on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, share it on social media platforms, tag a friend, Podbean, create a profile, leave a comment, iTunes, 5-star review, and again, subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. And please, 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 whatever you do, share the fuck out of this. Share it, share it, share it.
Boys, pass the pod.
You know it. Anyway, I've been Cameron. That is Peter.
Peace.
And we are out of here. Stay safe.
Yeah.